putting in progress. So we're gonna do prostrations, so you don't need to do anything. Don't worry. It's just one thing that we do to prepare the body, the speech, and the mind. So we're gonna sit down, So before we do that, we do one thing that is called prostration. So prostrations is something that we use the body to represent. The right hand side of our body represents the method. So the method that we use in Buddhism, it's the method of compassion mainly. Yes, mainly the compassion. And the left hand side is what complements compassion, because only compassion is not enough. So we need wisdom. Yes, because otherwise we ended up doing something that I like to call stupid compassion. Yes, have you heard about that? Sometimes, we think are very vain, but actually we're being a little bit stupid. Yes. So that's why we need both of them. And then in Buddhism, everything is like it's a ritual in the sense of there is a meaning because it's to train the mind. So then we put the two fingers inside that represents so many things, but the main thing that represents actually to say it's an inner path. Yeah. So we need to do it inside more than trying to change everybody and everyone around us and everything. We do it inside first, right? And we perfect, we hold these two things together, the compassion and the wisdom. Yes. And then with that becomes a Jew. Yes. I think we have maybe there is one of these images of the Buddhas, and that one is the Buddha of compassion, Chenrezig, and it has here like something in the middle, jewel. Yes, so this jewel over there is the representation of compassion and wisdom together. Yeah, because compassion and wisdom can transform all of our activities, everything that we do, with our body, with our speech, and with our mind. Yes, so we can do what? Transform these three things to benefit others. That's the idea. Okay? So we do that as a way to remind ourselves. So you don't need to sit there, relax, have a tea or coffee. Yes? And we're gonna do that. And we're gonna chant a mantra. So those that would like, they can do it with us. And then of course we do something with we go down and we prostrate means actually we put the two hands, the two knees, and the forehead, or we can do a full body prostrations to say that in order to develop these two things, the wisdom and the compassion, we need help. We need support. We don't need someone to do it for us because we know they cannot do it for us, because as I say, it's an inner path, but we can understand that the Buddhas, especially our teachers, they are people that actually have walked this path and can help us, right? So what is blocking us for doing it right now is that we think we know everything. So we forget that we actually need a little bit of help. Okay? So that's what prostration is also the best antidote for any type of pride. It's a best type of humbling practice. Yes? To develop humbleness. So with that in mind, with the wish to develop our body, our speech, and our mind to benefit sentient beings, to stop creating suffering for ourselves and others, to stop creating suffering in the world, and actually bring compassion, wisdom, light, love, kindness. So we're gonna do these prostrations and we're gonna sit down and talk about death. Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Bhutama Shri Soham Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Bhutama Shri Soham Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Uttama Shri Soha. And the full body prostrations, I always say, best exercise. It's like a burpee, we say, like oh, like this. That's the gym for monks and nuns. Let me put like this so I can see everybody. Okay, great. Very good. So we are continuing our module on death. Very important. Very important. Very important. This module is useful for everybody. Someone TJ that is coming, all of you that have been here, but actually everybody should think about death, right? Because as we talked about, especially in the last few weeks, and the last week we talked about the first type of understanding about death, which is death is certain, right? There's no way to escape death. Everybody's gonna die. Everybody that we were discussing, maybe in 120 years or something like this. Everybody that is alive now, gone. This is not something that the Buddhism is inventing. No, it's not something that Buddhism is kind of like saying as if it is something new. We all know that, but we just don't think about it. We just don't stop and think about it. Actually, we do the opposite. Sometimes, some place, some cultures, if we say, "Oh, we need to discuss about that," and then everybody's like this, "No, no, 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 don't talk about it. It jinx it." No, you say that? Yes. So places like people really believe that talking about death brings death, to come, and then we actually ended up happening what normally happens when we don't prepare. Yeah. What happens is that when it does arrive, the moment we don't know what to do. Yes. So that is why these classes, they are really designed for us to think about preparing ourselves for death, the moment of death, and even after death. Hmm? So that's why we talked about, really trying to understand a little bit more what it means, what it actually goes, yeah, with us when we die. We're gonna talk a little bit more in the next few classes, but it's important that we understand these three uh, time frames. I can say like this, yes, preparing, during, and after. Yes. So we are now the preparation still, because let's face it, is like the one that we actually need to work a little bit more. The preparation for that, because it's the now a day-to-day life, and we don't actually do it anything. Hmm? We don't prepare for it. We don't talk about it. We don't think about it. And as we said, yes, we might talk about it, but it's like a talk that is in here, that it doesn't actually change the way we perceive things. Yes? So we talked about it, the idea that death is certain. Yes, but actually, nowadays I don't live like this. So I need to continue be meditating and thinking about. So that's why we kind of like talk about the different points of what it is, why is it certain? Why, what is the advantages of thinking about? Do you guys remember we talked about that? Yes? So that's very important. Now, today, we're going to talk a little bit about what we say the moment of death is uncertain. Even though death is certain, we have no idea when it's going to happen. Right? No idea. Of course, some people say, yes, if you have like, cancer, or if you're done, like, have a sickness, and you can see that maybe you have like, a few months, a few days, a few weeks ahead of you. But even that is not really secure. You go to a doctor and they say, maybe they have between 3 to 6 months of life. 3 to 6 months of life is actually quite a different, different statement, right? It's a different time. And even that, there's people that actually die before. There's people that live more than 6 months. So that uncertainty, it's totally, totally, totally true, right? We all think that we're gonna die peaceful at home, or in a nice bed, comfortable, and all of that. And guess what? Every single person that died maybe in a car accident, maybe a tree fell on their heads, or or something like that. They also thought like this, isn't it? They also thought that like, no, I know tomorrow I'm gonna die. Today, It's like when they have these big nowadays, they're having a lot. I don't know if it's just because I travel a lot, but so many news that I see about um how do you say in the planes the I know the turbulence, a lot of turbulence, and then people kind of like getting, you know, those moments are great for thinking about death. Hmm?
Yeah.
But then the mind, when there is happening, I don't know you guys, but my mind normally is like, yes, but I know maybe everybody is gonna die, but I want. I will find a solution, someone I'm gonna like, open the door and then fly with these robes like this. Completely nuts, right? So or we are kind of like, thinking, yeah, 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 but not my plane, not today, not this plane, right? When it's happening. Yeah, it's very, very funny. I love it. Like traveling, I think is a good way of, when these things happen, it's a good way to kind of like think about this. But we need to really try to see that maybe if we really investigate, that uncertainty is much more real than we actually think. Much more real, much more. You know, really, really much more um, possible to be dead than actually to continue to be alive, if we think about it. I always think about, we're going to talk about it, but I always think about COVID. COVID was such a wake up call. Suddenly, closed countries, the world out of a virus, and then people dying. So many millions of people all over the world, right? Is anyone expecting that? Was anyone really kind of like saying, "Oh yes, in 2000, February, March 2020, this is gonna happen, and then all of these people are gonna die," right? So really, something that we need to start thinking about. So that's why we're gonna talk a bit more in details today. Okay? So let's just try to make a small motivation for us to really do what we're gonna do today with that idea of death in our minds. Okay? So we're gonna do we have the prayers over there today? Today I want to do prayers. I'm in a mood for prayers. Bad monk. Should do prayers every day, but today especially we're gonna do a little prayers. Do you have over there, Roy? Otherwise, I can try to have it here. Don't worry. I think I have it here. Retreat prayer book. So we're gonna do what we call, aspiration prayer, or that we're gonna try to really think about what we can do with our mind, with our lives, you know, and then trying to expand that so we can use, as we said, the body, speech, and mind towards others. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So let's just take a moment to try to create that motivation. Why intention and motivation is important, you guys already know, but really understanding that the intention is the spark, right? That ignites the thought, and the thought ignites the action or the speech, and then makes us manifest whatever we want to manifest in the world. Hmm? So the intention is actually the compass that is going to make us arrive here, 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 or here, all in the intention. And we don't pay attention to our intention normal. Yes, we are not really thinking. Hmm? And then we know that if we're not really thinking, autopilot is just there. What we say as like our habits are always there. And then we keep having the same type of results. And then what happens? We are, I wanted something different. Have the same intention, right? The same intentions of selfishness, the same intentions of me, putting me in the middle, or even like, stupid compassion as intention. Then we have the same result. Is it making sense what I'm talking about? Yes? So let's try to do that. So I'm just trying to find the prayers here. Daily mantras, preliminary prayers, I think it's. not this one. So we're gonna do these prayers because it's very important that we try to prayers for teaching occasions. There we are. So we're gonna do it as a way to create in our minds really the intention, to use our body, our speech, and our mind to benefit others. Okay? And that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do a very short prayer. So in order to start, we just take a moment. If you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. You can use a few breath, in breath and out breath. And we really try to start noticing our minds, maybe paying attention a little bit more of our mental state, our emotional state. And especially we try to think about, why did I decide to come here on a Thursday night? Talk about death, to listen and talk and think about it. This light topic for a Thursday night. Why? And maybe we can start thinking and really seeing that underneath our our own motivation or intention to come here, if we really need to pinpoint, it's because we want to be happy. We don't want to have problems, or we want to know how to deal with them. And for that, we need to find ways, you know, to find those tools, that inner path that can help us. And we know that, life is extremely fragile and things can happen at any minute, completely change. So may I use the present moment, the moment that I have it now, to abandon, let it go of habits, of mental states that do not help me to find that happiness. And may I use also this present moment to then develop and really discern those mental states, those habits that help me to find that happiness. And meditating on death, or really talking about it, it helps me. It motivates me. It's the biggest motivation, actually. So I can do something about it. But not only this, every single person that I know, that I love, that I care about, is going to die. So may I use whatever I'm going to hear and discuss and talk today to also help them prepare for their own death, have a more peaceful moment, and deal with the loss of loved ones. So then, this Thursday evening is not only about me, but about all others that I can benefit. And in order to help me do that, we're gonna do a aspirational prayer. Yes, we're gonna do something that can help us really establish that motivation strongly. Let me share these with you guys. How do I do there? Share. Yeah? Guru, think of me? No, not this one. Where is it? I actually want to do the four immeasurables. So we're gonna do, yes, just one time each of these, what we call the four immeasurables, which is the minds that help us to train ourselves in developing the wish to help others. Okay? So we're gonna start with equanimity. How wonderful it will be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, free from the closeness of attachment and the distance of hatred. May they abide in equanimity. I myself will cause them to abide in equanimity. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. Then the second one is the immeasurable loving kindness that we actually can use, to develop that loving kindness towards others, wanting them to really achieve the state of happiness. How wonderful it will be if all sentient beings were to achieve Buddhahood. May they achieve Buddhahood. I myself will cause them to achieve Buddhahood. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. And then is the immeasurable. That is one that Rinpoche like. And then there's the other one. This is the one that we normally do. What do we do with the one that Rinpoche like this? Okay. Immeasurable compassion, wanting others to be free from suffering. That's what compassion means in Buddhism. How wonderful it will be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free from suffering and its causes. I myself will cause them to be free from suffering and its causes. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. And then the immeasurable of joyfulness, wanting others to actually achieve conditions that will help them to be, joyful and happy. So that's what that means. How wonderful it will be if all sentient beings were never separated from the happiness of higher rebirth and liberation. May they never be separated from this. I myself will cause them never to be separated from this. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. So that's what we try to really aspire for this. Okay? And now let me put this PowerPoint thing that I took. Okay? So today we're gonna continue, this first one that we talk about, that death is certain. So what is the conclusion that I should arrive? It's your first time. Yes. Yes. Did you know that this module that we are doing is about death? No? Okay. So don't be afraid. Don't think that we Buddhists, we only talk about that. It's a specific module, yes? That is very important for us to talk about because it's for us to prepare. As I was saying, I don't know if you heard, but especially is that we, it's very important in Buddhism for us to prepare for death, the time of death, yes, and what happens after. So that is so important. Why? Because it's our life. Death is part of life. So that's why we are talking about it, so we can develop those tools. So when the moment of time comes, you're relaxed, right? I was talking to a friend of mine today. He's a doctor actually, and in Brazil, and he, wow, he's working with people with cancer. He just finished his residence in whatever type of thing for cancer. So he he says that what he's been hearing so much, but so much, is people really regretting, you know, not having lived their lives in a totally different way that the way that they live it now. Hmm? Because now they spend so much time chasing, yes, things and money and success and all of that. And at the time of death, nothing of these actually matters. The time of death in their minds is really about they understanding the time that they spent with their family, their loved ones, the love, the compassion they actually brought in the world. So special, huh? To have this. So that's what we need to start thinking a little bit more, right? In Buddhism. So for us to be able to let it go of these wrong ways of actually acting, yes, chasing things and looking for these, we need to train the mind. And at the same way that we need to train the mind to actually check how we can be more kind, more loving, and compassionate. That is what Buddhism is about. That is why actually we know we are really thinking about that. Huh? Because we need to come to the conclusion that is like, yes, I need to practice. Yeah? I need to practice what? Decreasing and letting go of these wrong ways that I'm living my life, that I believe is going to bring me happiness now and at the time of my death. But at the time of death, nobody cares, right? Nobody says, I wish I should have bought that apartment. I wish I should have bought more cars. Nobody says that, right? Everybody thinks about when the time of death. Oh, I wish I could have been more kind, more generous, more compassionate, more loving. I should have loved more. That's what it is. So that in Buddhism, developing these mental states, these positive mental states, you can train your mind to do it. Does it make sense? Yes? The same way you go to the gym, you can actually go to mental gym to actually practice to be more compassionate, more kind, more loving, and you can let it go and you can completely eliminate, yes, abandon those negative emotions, of, you know, greed and fame and all of these things that we are doing. We're going to see about that today. Okay? So that's why today we're talking about time of death is uncertain. That's what we're talking about. Okay? So we say there's like three specific ways for us to actually help us think about that. Okay? So first one, yeah, and I really is like there's no set number of years you get when you are born. There's no these, you know? There's no kind of like a contract, because I used to be a lawyer, that you kind of like, you're born and say, okay, here you go. You have 78 years. Okay, you have 97. Oh, you have 3 years. No, there's no such thing as this. That's completely our minds that we believe that, death is kind of like some sort of, life is some sort of contract. Oh no, but if I do that, even if I think, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna do all of these healthy things, and I think I'm gonna kind of like expand it. And how many people die in the gym? Huh? Eating a salad, isn't it? Or do your massage, relaxing, right? It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to actually achieve what we want. So these three things is very important, and we're going to talk about these three reasons. Yes, lifespan in this world is not fixed. That is the first one. Yes, and we know that. And that, I think, it is one of the most difficult things for us, because when we see children dying, yes, young people dying, we we feel it's not natural. We feel it's not natural, right? But yes, it's not natural in the sense of um, older people have more probability of dying. Yes, just because the lifespan of some of what we call normality of life, you go, you get older, and then you start, the body starts to decay, and then it finishes. Yes, but it's not like this. Yeah, it's not fixed for everybody. There's no fixed time. So it can be very short. I even have a horrible story, very sad, very sad. Two students of mine in Germany, they were pregnant 8.5 months, and they lost the baby inside. Inside. Can you imagine? And you know how you have to do? You have to deliver the baby. You have to have a, like a, how do you say, a cesarean C-section. C-section, right? To have that. Very sad. Very sad if you think about it. So even before what we consider being born, we can even die. So it's so important. And we see that in our daily lives. It's not something as extraordinary as we think. It's not something so rare. Actually, many people die in different ages. Hmm? So this lifespan that we believed, yeah, oh, I know I'm here in this day. Oh no, I'm still having 50 years in front of me, 40 years. Oh, I still have, even, if you're as old as Bob, you still think like, I still have, 20 years in front of me, 30 years. Maybe, maybe not, right? Maybe. And even so, that is the idea that even for Bob, or for a person that is just born, it doesn't necessarily, there is that fixed amount of time. Yeah? Because death is uncertain. We don't know. We can't control that. We can help to minimize, yes, like, Bob has a health situation, and then he takes pills and all of that. No, Roy no, doesn't take sugar and all of these. Yes, we can create conditions to maybe yeah, not die tomorrow because of that condition that we have. Yes, but it does not make it fixed. That is so important for us to understand. Hmm? So don't think that because you're thinking that you're going to live until 90, you're going to live until 90. Hmm? That is the idea for us to really start talking about it. Yeah? The other type of way for us to start talking about is there are many more causes of death than supports of life. That doesn't look so, like, especially living here, maybe, in Florida. We think like, what do you mean? But to be honest, COVID is a perfect example, right? But I'm gonna say something now, very funny. We are so, like, like, thinking that we don't. But is there anything wrong with the water? We are sick, isn't it? And in a small little thing, we are sick, and then we die. There's people, right? I especially when I go to places like India and Nepal, where the conditions are more difficult. Wow, right? And then it really makes me think about the third one, which is the body is extremely fragile. The body is so fragile. We think the body is amazing, it is in so many ways, but it's so fragile in so many other ways, right? It's like, especially like now, it's too hot, so we go inside, and it's too cold. The other day I had to go home because one supermarket was so cold that I could not stay inside. It's just so cold. So, because I only use these little things, so I said, oh, it's too cold. So then we get sick because of coming from hot to the cold, isn't it? The body gets affected by this, like this. Like, so of course, and all of these things that we normally use in our daily lives that we think support our life can also make it our death, create death, like cars. Hmm? How many accidents? I don't know how it is in South Florida, but when you're driving in 95, the amount of stuff that you see on the side sometimes, I always think what happened over there. Maybe nobody died, but you see kind of like tires and you see like stuff. And all of that is a car that yes, it brings us from here to here, but it also can kill you, right? I have a story of the brother of a friend of the mother of a friend of mine that uh, the this uncle was inside a swimming pool and there was a big wind or something like this, and he didn't, and the electric wires went inside him, right? Or people that were like, parked over here and then suddenly, boom, the tree goes. Isn't it? Well, you're coming and then you're sleeping and you have a heart attack as well, right? It's like we are so obsessed with controlling ourselves and our bodies and our lives, believing that we gonna make sure that we know when we're gonna die. And guess what? Every single person thought the same. You still okay with So why are we talking about these things? Why are we talking? The other day as well, one person here from the center fell at home, then broke the wrist, and then had to have a surgery and all of that. But it could be the head, boom, gone, like this, isn't it? So why are we talking about these reasons? That lifespan in the world is not fixed. There are many more causes of death. The body is extremely fragile. The body is extremely fragile. Is the best one to go when you go to Nepal and India, right? You get sick, you eat something, then you get sick, get diarrhea, right? Immediately, you see the fragiles of the body. It's like this, right? Or the contamination. You go to some places so contaminated, all of the elements, they affect the body so strongly, right? Now in Europe, they are having a heat wave. People are dying because of heat, right? So it's not something that is like, oh, it doesn't work, doesn't happen. It's happening now because of the heat wave. The body doesn't cope with it. Hmm? There's a story also very, 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 like very sad, but an amazing person. Yeah, that she had a son, 15-year-old in Amsterdam. And the son always used to go to a restaurant with his friends, and and he went, and there was something that they put it differently, and he had a knowledge of that, and of course nobody knew, just died in the rest. Very nice topic to talk about on a light Thursday evening, huh? But let's face it, if we don't talk about this, it is very hard for us to change our lives and the way we are doing our lives right now. you know? And let's face it, that's one of the reasons why we came. Hmm. We want to improve. We want to dedicate more. We want to be a little bit happier. Maybe we are, not finding some sort of satisfaction the way we are living our lives. So think about this, because this is going to ignite in you a good sense of urgency. Hmm? A good sense of thinking, okay, I do not have the time that I think I have. And if I do have, great, because I already relaxed. I already know. I already did the things that I have to do, and I'm relaxed. I'm really enjoying the rest of my life. Hmm? You know? So, what is the determination? What is the motivation that should come to us when we start to think about these things? It's really to think, I need to practice now. And the practice that we're talking about, mainly to decrease and eliminate what caused me suffer, and to practice those qualities that make me happy, like love, compassion, and kindness. That in the end of my life, that's what is going to be with me in my mind. Hmm? Not whatever we bought in Amazon, right? So that is the thing. So here we have these points, about what not thinking about that. Online people, if you have a question, you put it on the chat, or you just open the mic and say, because I cannot see you, yeah, because I have the thing on the screen. So again, if you have a question, just put on the chat or just talk. So the disadvantages of not thinking about death. The first one is you won't remember what actually matters. We just saw it. No, that at the time of death, what matters is not what you bought on Amazon, what things you have. My godmother says the we say the coffin of a dead person doesn't have a wallet, right? You don't bring with you. Doesn't have a safe, not a wallet, a safe. Yeah, where you can put all your kind of jewels and things like that. And then what? You're gonna bring with you? Stay here. You know. So why this grasping so strongly? Hmm? So you're too busy with everything else if you don't think about that. That's the most important thing. We become so busy, so busy, so busy, like a headless chicken. You say that? Yes. And if you don't think about it, then you don't actually act. No? It's like we were discussing, even like Margaret, said last class, and today we also talked a little bit, because she started to think about that. Oh, I'm getting old and all this. She started to prepare for her death. To think about, okay, what happens if I die? Yeah, what happens with me, with my body, with the people I love? Huh? Also on a practical level, then, right? Because then what really normally happens is that if you don't decide these things, then a lot of fights and struggle and none and this happens in families. So many families destroyed by, people not organizing their affairs before. So strong. So very important as well. No, yeah, and we're always thinking there's always tomorrow. So I'll make that phone call tomorrow. I'll tell that person I'm sorry tomorrow. I'll tell that person that I love tomorrow. I will do, all of the things that we know are gonna be important. And we know that if we would die now, we would regret not doing. We don't do it. Does it make sense? And then in relation to really practice, really trying to practice, the idea of like now I'm gonna, really stop thinking about, just thinking about buying things, going this, da 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 da, is then our real practice becomes very shallow, because I'm always thinking like, yeah, 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 but yeah, 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 but yes, oh yeah, but I'm still gonna just buy these, and tomorrow I'll practice, right? Because there's always that tomorrow, that continuity, right? So it just fades. Yeah, these two, number three and four, is that idea that we just don't actually practice really, right? It becomes very like superficial. Hmm? And that happens sometimes. I have seen so many people really trying to improve their minds, really trying to develop compassion, love, kindness, and becoming very superficial, And then there is a part of here that we say we create more negative karma, right? Karma are seeds. Yes? Karma is not only negative. That's good because you're too new here. So I really like to say this. Because the other day we went for dinner, me and Bob, and then just close to us, there was this couple, and then the couple, I think the guy got stand up, and then he hit his leg somewhere, and then she said, "Karma," and I was a bit like, not like that. It's not. If she would said, "You see negative karma," then I would say yes. Right? Then yes. So because there's also actually everything that we have, that we enjoy, that is happening to our lives, it's our positive karma. Karma is not only negative, right? Karma can be positive and can be neutral, means not here, not there. Hmm? So, but why we say that not thinking about that creates negative karma? Because you're not thinking about your mind, and what you're doing, just sliding, as I like to say, back into your whole old habits. So then the old habits of attachment, of anger, of confusion, of pride, of jealousy, of, then you just go there, continue to go there, continue to go there. So that's why you create. Yeah. And the sixth one is the most important one. You die with regrets if you don't prepare for it. Yeah. It's the most reported experience at the end of life. And today was perfect because I was talking to him and he would, no, I didn't even talk that we were talking about death. And he started to tell me these things, right? That is making him wake up to his own life. Him make change his decisions. He wanted to go and live in a place with the beach and all of that. And he was kind of like, and then he started to say, but if I stay here where I am, I have my family, you know, I have the people I love, I have some situation, I have a relationship that I actually like so much, and for her it will be so hard, it probably will be difficult. He really is making him think because he's really having the experience, direct experience every single day where people say they are dying with regrets. Hmm? So this works. Yeah, it's not blah 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 from the crazy monk or the kind of Buddha. Yeah, it works in our daily lives. You know, so this is something that they made it very beautiful. But it's this. We all have lists. Yes, things that we're gonna do, that we're gonna say, that we're gonna prepare. Da, 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 da. We're always planning, 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 planning. For someday, for tomorrow. And guess what? Tomorrow, Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, my teacher, he used to say something very funny. He used to say, one day I said to Rinpoche something, and then Rinpoche said like this: "We don't know if this is happening. You know, we don't know if tomorrow will come. What is gonna come first, tomorrow or death? Isn't it? It is. This is very true." Rinpoche was all the time telling us to do this, to really meditate on that. Two meditations Rinpoche told us to actually always do: that and understanding how things work. Really, every day, think about it. Wake up and think, might be my last day. What should I do? That transforms your day completely. You know, some people come to Buddhism and, thinking, I want something that helps me to feel good or to feel that, da, 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 and then they don't want to actually do the difficulties because it's not easy, right? But if you try, it helps. If you try, it works. If you wake up and you think about it, it might be my last day. How do I want to live my day? Then if someone comes here, especially in South Florida, cuts in front of you when you're driving, you don't get so, upset. Or you put the sign, to go, and then someone goes in front of you, like this. You don't get so angry, you know?
Don't they do that in Brazil?
Brazil is much worse. The best place that I love, honestly, is India, Nepal. It's so chaotic that it works. It's just so chaos, like a total chaos, that it works. I don't know how to say. Here is that we have a little bit of a, kind of like a order. Yes. So that is so, 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 important. It's really what is going to change our day, right? So here, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, even though I think that we can do it. We're going to talk about this in every module. But what is sticking us into the day-to-day life? What is making us glued to not think about that? What is completely making our lives, seems so important the way we live it that it makes us forget to think about that. What are we replacing? Yes, instead of thinking about or doing things that are gonna make us not regret, yes, at the end of death. What are we, instead of be doing these, what are the things that we are doing? These eightly worldly concerns. What does it mean? It means that if we really look into our minds, if we really look into our daily life, what we are doing all the time wanting praise and avoiding criticism. Yes? We are always worried about being criticized. We're always worried about, having someone criticizing us because the way we look, the way we talk, the way we do it, the way we did something, the way we express ourselves, always afraid. And at the same time, we are always wanting to be praised. Hmm? At the same time, you know, the other type. So why they are called eight worldly concerns? Because actually they are four pairs, right? So I want one thing and I hate or I avoid another thing. Yes? So if you really look into our lives, that's how we are. Trying to avoid criticism, trying to want praise, trying to want to gain something. Yes? And when we have it, we are afraid of losing it. And we hate losing. Yeah? How many times we get angry because we think we lost something, even at home, even even the keys of the car or keys of the house, we get angry sometimes. Ah, where did I put it? We get like this for losing. We don't want to lose it. Or when our phones boom, go smash or someone steals something from us, even if it's not like physical, but can be still our partner or something also, right? We don't want to lose. We hate, avoid any time losing. Hmm? And we're so, this wanting to gain is like all the time. We just want more and more and more and more. Wanting to gain also, another translation that Rinpoche used to use, wanting comfort. Yes, also wanting more things. Né? And the other thing is why we want to gain, why do we want to lose? Because we want pleasure. Yes, the sensory pleasures. Yeah. And that is very easy to see. Here in America, and well, especially, well, not America, I would say South Florida, we don't have so many public transportation. People don't use public transportation so much. So, but if you go, to Europe or to other places, or even New York, every single person is doing something with their senses. Nowadays, well, I don't have mine, phone, right? Is the phone. Or even you go to a restaurant and you see people waiting, their phones, right? Or they're listening to some music, right? You go to the car, even in the car, you have to have something, right? I always say that with my brother. My brother lives in Canada and he arrives at home. He lives by himself. He arrives, he has a partner, but they don't live together. He arrives and he turns off TV. He says, I need to have some sort of noise, right? That is the mind thinking that creates pleasure. Hmm? So we are constantly craving pleasure of the senses. We are constantly craving, I need to drink or eat or something, all the time. Yeah. I think that here in America, I really realize that. So how, what's the name of that thing? Uh, drive through works. You know, people just like, I think I need a donut, and then go. "Oh, I think I need a coffee, and then it's just so easy, isn't it? It's just so easy. If you had to walk and then you would say, maybe I don't need this. But it's kind of like, it's just so easy. Then you just go, I think, just in your face. Then you go, yeah, right? So pleasure of listening, of tasting, and then good smell. Then you go, wow. Because one of our vows is not to use perfume, not to kind of like put makeup or anything to not embellish ourselves, right? As monks and nuns. So I go nowadays. It's very funny because when you stop using these things, actually, perfume nowadays, it's it feels so toxic. Yeah, to me, it's the opposite. It doesn't smell good. What? When you go to some place, especially in the airport, that place, you know how where the duty free or whatever you call that thing, you know, so many perfumes and things and different smells and things, and you're like, and everybody's like, oh, wow, this is so good, you know? Wow, this is amazing. I need, and then my older brother, my middle brother as well. You go to his house, his toilet, there's like 30 or 20 types of the perfume. Why? You need one. Why, you know? You need one. But in the mind, you know, because we want to smell new things, nice things, isn't it? Oh, you could, yeah, you understand. Are you agreeing with this? Yes. So we are constantly hooked. Yes. Or another way to say enslaved by this. Yeah, we're slaves of the sensory pleasures. Yeah, or seeing something. That is the best because Netflix made a fortune like this. Hmm? No, I'm just gonna watch another one, another one. Then 3 in the morning, then next day you're like a zombie. Like I'm out of Netflix. Like this, right? Because we can't stop watching something and then no, this is so good, this is so good, this is so good, this is so good, right? Because we just want that kick. Yeah, ding, ding. Or Instagram, dun, 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 dun. Brain rotting. No, the word of I think last year was the word of the brain rot. Dun, 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 dun. What is that pleasure? We don't want this that kick of pleasure all the time. Hmm? Like this, completely nuts. Or then comes the best one, my biggest one, pleasure of taste. Eating something. Burritos, pizza, ice cream, like this all the time. Hmm? You always nippling. What is it? Snacking. Snack. Yeah, this is English very in the UK. Snacking. You always have to have something, right? Because the pleasure, right? So we didn't even investigate. We don't even think about it. The other day, I discovered that you can even in Amazon, you can even ask Whole Foods to deliver. I didn't even know that. You can have groceries delivered. I didn't know. You don't have to leave the house. You don't need to do anything. It's just like, oh, I want this. And then, of course, the pictures, they are very nice, appealing. Especially delivery. What is type of the iFoods you have here now? What is it? Instacart, yeah? Or Uber delivery? Uber Eats. Yeah, Uber Eats. That's the one. In Brazil or in India. No, no, it's not in Brazil. In India, they have, yeah, DoorDash. They have also now iFood is like, kind of like everything is like iPhone, iFood, I did. So, I want. So then and I see those pictures. It looks so amazing, so delicious, and all of that. And I arrive at home, it's like, right? So half of the enjoyment is gone because half of it was the seeing, really seeing the thing and say, wow, this is so nice, this is gonna be da, da. And then the other half was tasting it, isn't it? Right? It's true because we really think about, oh wow, this is so nice. So this is the pleasures, and then the tactile pleasures, the amount. Also, I went to CVC maybe. CVC, Walgreens, CVS, yeah, CVS, CVS, and Walgreens. The amount of creams that people have. I was the and look at this. It's worse than the yogurt session in the supermarket. So many creams, to put, and then actually, then I was reading. It was so funny. The woman asked me, Anything particular? No, no, I'm just looking. Thank you. Wow, for like for going out in the sun, for after before sleeping, for when you wake up, for putting up, for doing this and collagen or something. Collagen, which I never heard about, but just for you to know that actually collagen I heard because when I saw it, then I went online and I looked it for what it was. It's made of meat, actually, the bone marrow of the animal. So just have that in mind, okay, for those that don't like to do things like this. But so I was kind of like so many things for the pleasure of the skin to be soft and well, hand cream, right? You have hand cream, you have body cream, you have facial, wow, feet cream. I was just thinking like, wow, yeah, so many things, right? So absolutely we want that, and we don't want to have the opposite of it. Yeah, we don't want to have kind of like mm, avoid having discomfort. And my friend was saying something to me that is very funny because he's saying, I remember when I was in university, I had like, a hot dog and I was so happy. Now I need to go to this fancy restaurant with these things, pay $20 in something. And I used to have a $1, hot dog and I was so happy, right? So now if I see her in a hot dog, I say, bad. I don't like it. I'm not gonna have pleasure. Actually, you had it before. But the mind starts to create, yes? These obsessions and these things. So we just go more and more and more. And I need these and I need that and I need. Then we try to make it more complex, more complex, more complex. Yeah, that's why we have 350 types of hand creams and facial creams because we are becoming so specific to think if I don't have it in this way, I'm gonna have discomfort. If I don't have it in this way, I'm not gonna have pleasure. Hmm? Does it make sense? Yes. So this is why we called concerns, because we are constantly concerned about it. Yes? And then the last one, which is big one, wanting to have a good reputation and not wanting or avoiding, hating to have a bad reputation. Yeah. And bad reputation and good reputation doesn't need to be just kind of like I don't know, career wise, but can be even in our family. Hmm? I don't want to have be the black sheep, we say something like this. It's like I don't want to be that. I don't want to I need to be this. I need to be the good son, the good daughter, the good this, the good that, the good dad, the good mom, the good this. And then we become so obsessed with this, right? And we're so afraid that someone is going to criticize us or someone is going to say that we are bad people, bad mother, bad father, bad brother, bad sister, bad this, bad that. Yeah. So this really, really, really kind of like makes our life so hard. Yeah. So I would like you guys to everything okay over there online today? Yes? Yeah. Do you understand why we're talking about the eight worldly concerns? Yes, because it's because of them that we are totally, totally habituated to follow them and we don't think about the time of death. Yes? So we don't prepare for our death. It's because of them that we have regrets at the end of death. Because we spent our lives chasing them. Because we spent our lives concerned about them. Yeah, because of them that we actually thought that we would achieve, happiness in this life and at the moment of death. And guess what? They don't bring happiness in both time frames. They don't bring happiness in this life. Yes. Why? Because they are like drinking salty water. The more you have pleasure, the more you need more. Yes, it's never enough. Yeah, never enough. There's a song, never enough. I don't know. There's never enough. Never. So we are constantly running from one place to the other, from one place to the other, from one thing to the other, from one thing to the other, believing that they are the things that are going to bring us happiness in this life. And then at the time of death, they become what? Our biggest regret. Deep stuff, man. Here, we really need to think about that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say then, and I'm an alien because I don't
An alien.
I don't have things like on the phone. I don't do the 300 people. I don't do those things, and I don't go to the restaurant to get the food in the window.
The delivery. The drive-through.
No.
Yes, yes. Because I think that with time as well, we start to really realize, the priorities, because that is what actually started happening to us. You know, in 2015, I was in Nepal with Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So kind. We stayed with a group of people with Rinpoche in the top of a mountain, and there was a big earthquake in Nepal. More than 10,000 people died, and I almost died. And honestly, that experience, I think, really gave me such a different direction in my life, because I really started to realize that what I want to do with this time of this life. I was uh, 26, maybe 26, yeah, not even 27. And I said, how do I want to live this life? I already, of course, had left my job in finance, the lawyer, all of that, past life. But I was really thinking, what do I want to do? How do I want to live? So, and I really remember thinking, I don't want to have to go through these again so I can wake up. Because unfortunately, that's what really wake us up when someone in the family dies, when we have sickness, when something bad, or in the sense of some death comes, then we start to think how we want to live our lives, isn't it? That idea of prioritizing what really means, what is really meaningful to us. Why do we need to wait until that happens for us to prioritize that? Because we don't think about death. That's why. Because if we would think about death, the death is certain, but the time of this death is totally uncertain. Come on, move. We spend so much energy, so much time, so much money into things that are completely meaningless. And it's going to be meaningless at the end. So come on. Yes.
I was in a very uncomfortable or bad marriage, and I had two kids, and I was just really unhappy, and I just didn't know what to do.
Yes.
And I was watching, and I don't really watch so much television. This was years ago, years ago. I was watching this show about, it was like one of those news, like Dateline, or I don't know what it was. It was one of those type of shows. And they talked about, it was a terrible plane crash and only like 2 or 3 people live. And that like just totally made my mind switch on, going, oh my gosh, this is not a rehearsal. This is life. You don't get a second
That's
chance.
it.
This is, so then that made me, make a decision, and I ended up leaving this person and starting all over and all that kind of stuff. But I was just like, I didn't know, I was just unhappy. I didn't know what to do.
Yes.
This thing was like, wow, life is really precious.
That's it.
And it just really jump started me to do something.
Great story. Great story. Because honestly, one of the things that for me, Buddhism really helped me was we have the answers inside of us. They are all here. Buddha is not giving us any answer. Nobody's giving us any answer. We just need to find here, right? So if we can use our own mind to help us find these answers for the problems that we have, being unhappy, being in a relationship, being in a job that I don't like, and all of that, I had a friend that he was 27. He had a brain cancer and he died as well, right? And I remember that was, I had a few things in my life. That's why I feel that, wow, 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 it's so precious. But when he passed away, I already wanted to leave, right, from my job. I was already unhappy, even though making money and having success, I already wanted to leave. But I was always like, my mind was, when I reach a certain amount of money or the next bonus, right? Because in finance is the bonus, is where you're gonna get the money, right? So I was like, next bonus, and then of course, then the next bonus big. So you say, so the next one's gonna be even bigger. So then I can have more time, more money, so I can do, and I was not even thinking about becoming monk at the time, nothing like this, but I was just thinking about, I need to get out of here, right? So and then this friend of mine, since I knew since I was like, he was the brother of the my first girlfriend that I talked about on Sunday, right? So he passed away. He had a cancer. You know how they discovered his honeymoon.
Oh,
Just had married. Honeymoon. They went traveling. They went to a kind of like a beach place. He started to have a lot of headaches, vomiting, and he thought, oh, maybe it's something, maybe this, maybe that, da 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 da. He didn't go. Then we come back, do a TCT, whatever, TC scan, whatever, and then fine. You know? Then operate. Best doctor in Brazil, amazing person. Do take out, good. Live 1 year, come back, boom, gone. Right? And I discovered the second part because I knew about the first one and I knew that he was okay, so I didn't know. I discovered the second part, which was so fast, so fast, 2 days before he died. So I went, I stayed with him the entire 2 days in the hospital. I said to my boss, I said, I don't even want to care what we are doing. I'm gonna do that. And they were like thinking like, and I said, I don't care. Boom. And I went and I stayed with him for these 2 days. And after that, I said, you know what? No way. I'm getting the hell out of here. Right? Don't know if it's going to happen to me. And if I don't do what I want to do, don't live my life, I'm going to totally regret it. Hmm? And I don't want this. So very good. Again, death. Because it's the certain thing to happen. We can't escape, right? Maybe other things we can say, oh, it's circumstantial, is in like maybe this person happened. Death, it's what unifies all of us. Yeah. In front of death, we are all the same. There's some things that they say. I don't know if we're gonna talk about in the next one, but we say that in front of death, even like kings and beggars are exactly the same, right? So, really, I don't want to scare anyone and I don't want to make it morbid, but honestly, if you came here, any of us, with the idea of like, oh, what should I do in my life, or I'm having this problem, even whatever problem. So that's what I say Buddhism. It's not about fixing one problem, it fixes all the problems. If you think about, honestly, thinking about that can fix all your problems. Because if you are thinking, should I do this or not, should I do this or not, then oh, should I say this or not? Should I do da? It becomes clear. Everything becomes clear. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Yes, especially both of you that are new. If it makes sense to you, these people, you know, that is actually what happens. If is the answer to everything, right? And it's not the answer because it's something. It's just because our minds needs to be a little bit trained for us to remember the obvious. That's the craziness of it, right? It's obvious that we're gonna die. It's obvious that we don't know that when we're gonna die, but we don't think about that. Yes, sweetheart,
I
tell
kept
me.
thinking about something you said last week about how the time to practice is limited. That,
Mm-hmm.
how many,
Yes,
whether it's 1 day or
and that's it.
10 minutes, but that
That is true. That is exactly this. That is another wake up call that happens to us. It's like, wow, I've been habituating my mind so much with different things, yeah, to find the eight worldly concerns as the answer. I don't know. You know, maybe I kind of like I have 30 more years. Maybe I have 30 more seconds. Please don't, okay? It's gonna be so much work.
Uh,
I always say that to us when we go, we did the pilgrimage, and I say, look, you guys can do whatever you want, just don't die. It's gonna be so much work for me. Right here. It's gonna be so much work. I'm gonna have to call your family to all of this. Please, I'm very lazy, so don't do that, okay? But it's really an answer. If we want to, if we really want to use it, it's special. It's really special. But it's obvious in a way, right? To think about it. Isn't that obvious? Because we don't do it. But it's not because we don't do it because we don't know. But it's actually because of the mind not being habituated to think about it. Yeah? Okay, let's do a very short meditation. Yeah? 7 minutes meditation. So you guys can know that we can do it. Even 5 minutes, even 90 seconds meditation. Everything is possible.
meditate.
Yeah. No. So just we're gonna, if you want to move the body a little bit, because meditation we need to be actually active. So move your bit, sleepy. Move your body. Okay. And then try to find a comfortable posture and start paying attention to your breath. Mm. Specifically, the sensations that the air leaves every time we breathe in and out through our nostrils. Trying to focus the mind a little bit. And realizing every time we get distracted, thinking about the future or the past, or about one of the 8 worldly concerns, we just let it go by bringing the attention to the breath again. And now that you focus the mind, calm the mind a little bit, we're gonna do the analytical meditation by thinking. Just imagine that tomorrow you go to the doctors and they say that you have 1 year to live. They explain that they found something and there's not much they can do. try to see how this would change for you. What type of things you would stop doing. What becomes urgent. What you don't want to postpone anymore. So now try to think what this analysis actually tell you about the life you're living right now. Because if you really think about it, the only difference between this meditation and our own lives is that in the meditation we know when we're gonna die. But in real life we have no idea. So we can conclude this meditation by creating the intention to be more aware of what things we are doing that we will not regret at the time of our death, and which ones we are gonna regret. Maybe doing or not doing them. And try to create the intention to abandon those that you will regret and develop further and further those that we will not regret. Everybody alive? Yes. So we're gonna finish here today. We're gonna have a home reflection. No home reflection. Next time you realize either your mind saying, I hate doing this, or I don't want to do this, just check if this is something that you are doing that you might regret at the time of your death. And the opposite is like, wow, this is so nice. And then you check, maybe this is something that I want to remember or be proud of at the time of death. Does it make sense? Just to have that in mind. Yeah. That's such a good exercise, to do in our daily life. Say, wow, we can do this. I can do more. Realizing we can do more of this and less of that. Yes? Okay. So thank you so, so much for coming again and again. Coming back means, you are seeing the benefit for yourself and for others for what we talk here, what we discuss. And also, as we say, we like to always conclude with a dedication. So a dedication means, that wish that everything or anything that we benefited from what we've done here today, anything that we heard that it was beneficial, anything that it was like, oh wow, I like this. So may I bring that benefit and really express it and share it in the world. Not only for myself. So maybe, we have someone that we know or some people, maybe, with wisdom, with compassion, we can bring that to them. And even for our own lives, yes? Make decisions that matter. Prioritize what matters. So we dedicate that we are able to do this, and others may be able to benefit from that. And of course, we dedicate that every single person that is now struggling in their lives, that are dying, with regret, may they actually have peace. May they have a peaceful death. And those that are not yet, but like all of us, may we all wake up and really prioritize what we can use, how we can use our time in the world. So we can try to use the time to decrease and minimize the suffering existing in the world, all the wars, all the famine, all the, diseases, all the fighting, all of these to be completely subdued, eliminated. And may all of the conditions for us to continue studying, contemplating, meditating, and having that in our minds continue. So we dedicate like this. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank everybody online.
Thank you, Val.
Thank everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you, John.